All right, guys, here we go. Day number 2, training camp preview, finishing up the AFC East. Here we go. Let's not delay it all. Let's get into it. Everybody's reporting to camp. We got people not reporting to camp. We'll go over that at the end of the episode. Let's go. All right, guys, here we go. Let's jump right into this. Today we're finishing up the AFC East. Yesterday we did the Bills and the Patriots. Today is the Jets and Dolphins. And we are going to start out with none other than the New York Jets. New head coach Aaron Glenn. Now, you guys, if you've been watching for any time, know that I was a big proponent for bringing Rex Ryan back if I'm Woody Johnson. So being a defensive coach didn't bother me. In fact, what I really felt with Rex Ryan was he would bring the toughness back to New York, and they could easily handle with Rex Ryan a quarterback like Justin Fields. They would be able to handle, if they could sign him to a long-term deal, Rex Ryan would then rebuild the offensive line, or I guess finish building the offensive line as it is right now, and they would become a really, really tough team to beat. They would become what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to be, a team that can actually win in a tough game. Because right now, the Steelers have no offense, and we'll go over them, obviously, when we get to their preview. But the New York Jets this year have a strength of schedule of number 26. Now, when you look at it, though, it's not really that easy. And here is why. New England is on their list, which means they're 6-28 right there, because the Patriots were 3-14 or 4-13. There's, they've got 8-26 or 6-28 there. Okay, that really changes the strength of schedule. Pretty big too. Their schedule is not easy to start out with. They open up versus Pittsburgh. That one is going to be one of those games where it's Rodgers going back to New York, which I could care less. It's more about Aaron Glenn. Can he get his defense to be able to play? Pittsburgh, do they have an offense that will actually be able to score and an offensive line that can protect? But your first 6 weeks of the season for the Jets are the Steelers, the Bills, the Buccaneers, the Dolphins on the road, Dallas, and Denver. Now, you guys know my feelings on Dallas. Obviously, I'll reiterate them when we get to theirs. But that is a really, really tough first 6 games to open up with. On the road in Miami, we all know Miami, warm weather. They're not horrible in warm weather, and that one's a Monday Night Football game. So it's not great opening for Aaron Glenn. Buccaneers are good. The Bills have been owning this division. And Denver, it's across the pond. But Denver's defense is really, really good. Their quarterback is really smart, and their offense, they've got an offensive-minded head coach that has changed that team around in basically 2 seasons. So what do I feel would be success for the Jets. I think you got to win 7 games to count it a success. I really think you need to win 7 games. You've got some games on here: Dallas, Carolina, Cleveland, the Saints. You got 4 wins there. Okay, and in my opinion, you got 4 wins. I think you have to at least split with Miami, if not sweep Miami, because the schedule actually isn't that easy. We don't know what Jacksonville's going to be. Jacksonville was a bad team last year. They're on their schedule as well. Drops the strength of schedule. The thing with the strength of schedule you need to keep in mind is it always goes off of last year's record. That's why the beginning of the year strength of schedule and the end of the year strength of schedule is always something you want to compare. What did it actually end up being? At the beginning of the year, the Patriots' schedule looks a little bit better for them based off of who they're matched up with. The Jets' schedule has got a lot of teams that could be on the rise. New England's in their own division. Jacksonville, we're not really sure. We know Dallas and Cleveland are probably not going to really be competitive, along with the Saints. So it's a little bit different. I think winning 7 games is a success. 6 games is bare minimum. You can't go backwards. They signed Sauce Gardner. They signed Garrett Wilson. 2 huge moves for them. And I think they kind of need another year, another offseason. Hopefully, Woody Johnson stays out of the way, but I don't trust the owner. That's why I felt Rex Ryan was the big play. Because you needed somebody who could handle Woody Johnson. Big presence, big personality. And somebody who could just play football. I don't know if Aaron Glenn's going to be a great coach, good coach, bad coach, okay coach. I'm not sure. But I really hope he gets a fair shake with New York. He doesn't have the greatest quarterback situation. And as we go through these, let me throw this out there. Quarterback will never be the weakest position. Okay? And here is why. We all know the quarterback matters so much to a team. I'm taking quarterback out of the position groups when I'm going through which one's the weakest and which one's the strongest. Quarterback is an individual thing all by itself. We all know that. Justin Fields may or may not be able to really play quarterback. You're going to know in the first 6 weeks. If they come out through 6 weeks and they're 1-5, Tyrod Taylor could be starting. Week 7, they've got Carolina at home. So the reality is, and this is the huge reality, I don't believe this is an easy season for Aaron Glenn to be able to come in and have to do what he's doing. The way that this is going to play out isn't, it just doesn't mesh with what he needs to be able to accomplish. Not like Vrabel's schedule, who's got a schedule that's really easy. You start out easy. You get to ease into a couple things, and you could easily win 10 games in that schedule. The Jets could be 1-5 and uphill battle with a young team, and you still got pieces you need to fill. So success, I think, is 7-10. Bare minimum, I think, needs to be 6-11. I don't think you can go backwards. I don't think you can go backwards. Now, they do have cap space. They can make some moves. If they want to, they can. They can trade some of their more talented position players. I mean, their strongest position, and I haven't heard anything since the initial reports, so maybe everything got, smoothed over. But the initial reports were that Breece Hall was clashing with the new coaching group. I have not heard anything else on that. Training camp so far has started for them without any issues, and they are really strong at running back. They've got Breece Hall. They have Braylon Allen. They've got Isaiah Davis. Their running back room, I would run 2 running backs, honestly, out of the shotgun a lot. And the reason for that is give Justin Fields the best chance to be able to complete a pass. I don't think dropping back behind this offensive line is the greatest. I don't think they're horrible by any means. They're decent, but I think giving Justin Fields the ability to catch the ball and immediately move around, giving him 2 running backs to be able to swing the ball out to, I think could be a really, really useful thing for them. Their weakest position is easily receiver. And you may be going, hold it, but they signed Garrett Wilson. Do you know who they have behind Garrett Wilson? Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, Malachi Corley, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith. Mason Taylor, the rookie out of LSU, is slated to start for the Jets. I'm sorry. The running game's going to have to be really important. I would almost pull out a college-type playbook of triple option, speed options. Let Fields roam, because Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor are your 2 best receiving units, and then it is a cliff drop-off to anybody else. It is bad. They needed wide receiver help. One thing the Tennessee Titans did, and one thing the Seattle Seahawks did, they brought in a veteran, Cooper Kupp in Seattle. They brought Tyler Lockett into Tennessee. New England way overpaid for Stephon Diggs. I'm fully aware of that. Older receiver, they overpaid, but they brought in Stephon Diggs. Terry McLaurin is unhappy in Washington. Why not go get McLaurin and give him a 3-year deal? Because you need somebody to be able to be opposite of Garrett Wilson that can actually affect the game. I would love for the Jets to go get Terry McLaurin. I think it makes a lot of sense. They could go to the Colts. The Colts have 4 receivers: Pittman, Pierce, Downs, and Mitchell. And Colt fans don't want to hear this, but you don't end up with 4. If the Colts are going to move on from Alec Pierce, Pierce is better than everybody else behind Wilson. Go get Alec Pierce. If you want to go out to a team that potentially could be kind of throwing stuff out, go to the Saints. See if you can get Olave. Now, he's got concussion issues. I wouldn't give up a lot. Saheed has knee issues. Once again, wouldn't give up a lot. But the Saints signed Brandon Cooks. Veteran receiver just to be there. Alan Lazard is not on the level of Brandon Cooks. He's not on the level of Tyler Lockett or Cooper Kupp. He's not even close. What about trading a 6th-round pick to Green Bay? Well, if you trade a 6th-round pick to Green Bay and get one of their injured receivers that they're kind of giving up on, that's why they drafted Matthew Golden. Why not try that? So I think there's options, but it's very clear that is the worst position group for the New York Jets. All right, I spent more time on them than I was originally planning. Let's get to the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are kind of strapped, and I mean strapped. And it's partially because of the absolutely awful contract they have for their quarterback, plus their 2 big receivers, one of which is now a little bit moody and injured, and the other one seemingly also just injured. They traded Jonnu Smith, they traded Jalen Ramsey, and they got Minkah Fitzpatrick back out of it. When you look at this team, their strength of schedule is 21. And how their schedule starts out is pretty interesting, because it could either be a schedule that gives them a little bit of momentum or a schedule that absolutely crushes them. They open up at Indianapolis. We don't know who the starter is going to be. Could be a W. Also, could be a loss. We don't know how everything's going to play out, but I do think the Colt defense is going to be excellent this year. Then they have New England at home. That's the game where I really want to watch. Week 2, at home against the Patriots. Does Mike McDaniel get outcoached by Mike Vrabel? Does Mike Vrabel do everything that he knows Tua can't handle, and Tua just falls apart in week 2? Week 3, they're at Buffalo. Week 4, they're home against New York. Week 5, they're at Carolina. Week 6, they're home against the Chargers. If they can go 3-3 through that first 6 games, maybe they can be playing around with 8 or 9 wins. They go 2-4, 1-5. You're talking about a season that potentially, because week 8, 9, 10, and 11 are at Atlanta, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Commanders. So you are talking about by their bye week in week 12, Mike McDaniel could be fired and they could be 2-9. I am not kidding you. 2-9 is a possibility for this team. Heading into week 12. Thanksgiving week, they're home against the Saints, coming off of a bye. I think it'll be a new coach. Yep, that's my hot take. They will be, not could be. I think they will be 2-9 or 3-8 heading into the bye week. More because of their defense than their offense. Let me be very clear. If Tua gets injured, it throws all other reasons out, obviously. But they could be, I think they will be 3-8 or 2-9, and McDaniel will be fired at Thanksgiving. I don't see this team doing that great. And here's why. Their weakest position, they got rid of Jalen Ramsey. They got rid of some money, but they also got rid of Jonnu Smith, which was huge for them last year. Huge for them. But their secondary, they've got Storm Duck. Yeah, great football name. Great football name. But I was looking everything up. Okay, He was a rookie last year out of Louisville. Okay, he played a little bit last year, not a lot. Then they've got Jason Marshall Jr., the corner out of Florida that they drafted. Ashton Davis, the safety, who's basically a journeyman safety. He's been on the Jets, and he's not great by any means. Then you've got Kader Kohou, who didn't play bad last year for the Dolphins. And then you've got Minkah Fitzpatrick, who obviously is definitely halfway decent. But there's no depth. No depth whatsoever behind those guys. None that you're going to be like, well, if one person goes down, you've got somebody to replace him. We don't know about Storm Duck. We don't know about Jason Marshall Jr. We don't know how this defense is going to play out. The good news is their strongest position is linebacker. This is their linebacking core. Tyrell Dotson, Jordan Brooks, Bradley Chubb, Julian Phillips, KJ Britt, Willie Gay, Chop Robinson, Quentin Bell. That's their first and second line of linebackers. They got a bunch of linebackers. If you need a linebacker in the NFL, go get one from Miami. Give them a draft pick. They'll take it. I mean, good grief. Willie Gay, KJ Britt, and Chop Robinson are second string. They're the bench. This team is stacked at linebacker. Why? They have no depth in the secondary. The defensive line is so-so. Kenneth Grant looks like he's going to end up playing defensive end in the 34. I don't like it because I think his best move is on the interior. Jordan Phillips is the backup nose tackle. You got decent running backs. Aiken, Wright, Madison, Ollie Gordon, the rookie out of Oklahoma State. The running backs are good. The linebackers are amazing. And the offensive line is going to be probably okay. You got the rookie guard out of Arizona. The guard you picked up from Pittsburgh, James Daniels. The offensive line is going to be okay, I hope. Better not get an injury, though, because there is very little behind them. Very little behind them. The Dolphins just don't have depth. Injuries are a part of this game, and depth is a part of your strength. And they're not deep enough. Except for linebacker. Two linebackers could go down and they will not miss a beat. Linebacker, they're fine. But everywhere else, they're done. They're just done. I mean, they brought Darren Waller out of retirement to play tight end. Think about that for a second. They brought Darren Waller out of retirement to play tight end. So what's success for the Dolphins? I really think success, the only thing you can count as success for the team right now is they got to be fighting for a wild card spot. They may not get in, but they got to be fighting for that wild card spot. That is my honest viewpoint of it. The reality is I think this is going to be a very underachieving team this year. I think it's good. I do believe they have the ability to move off of certain contracts next year. And I do believe that a new coach and a new GM could come in and really work with this team. It's not necessarily bankrupt of talent. It's just it lacks the structure of a team that's going to go and try to win playoff games or even simple games with the way injuries are in the NFL. You got to have depth. You got to have a little bit of depth. And right now the Dolphins have none, and they only got $2 million in cap space. I think a fresh start would work for them. I really do. And we'll see what happens at the end of this year. I mean, we'll definitely see what happens at the end of this year. All right, let's get to some other news real fast. So number one, Terry McLaurin is a no-show at camp. Kind of mentioned that with the New York Jets. I am not on McLaurin's side on this one at all. He wants a new deal. He's like, if you look around the league, guys getting paid, T. Higgins is 4 years younger than you. CeeDee Lamb is 4 years younger than you. You're old. Sorry, dude. You're 30. Cooper Kupp got let go from the Rams. Tyler Lockett got let go from the Seahawks. You've got 2 years left. That's basically what the lifespan is that is normally going to happen. Deebo Samuel is a year younger than you. Don't think that you're something you're not. Now, do I think he's a healthy 30-year-old? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But I'm not on McLaurin's side on this one. You start winning. It wasn't because of you. You had been there. It wasn't because of you. It was because of your quarterback. And you actually didn't have that huge, ginormous year that most people would think of. Okay? Want to be clear about this. So very simply, I'm not on McLaurin's side. If he wants a deal, I would make it really simple for them to sign me. Give me $4 more million than you had a year for the last contract. Give me a 1-year extension. I'll play for you through, the next 2 years. And at 32, you understand where you're at. Trey Hendrickson, obviously a no-show at camp. So is Shamar Stewart. No shocker there. Both of them don't have a contract. Mike Brown is not going to move on Shamar Stewart. Trey Hendrickson, this is going to get interesting. This is going to get interesting because he's going to have to trade him. His leverage to trade him is going to leave because Hendrickson doesn't care about paying a fine for not being at camp. But he's also going to lose value if you wait till the deadline to trade him. Because right now, any team could really try to get him because we don't know how the season's going to play out. Any team right now thinks they have a shot. When you get into week 8, week 9, you're at least taking out 33% of the field that's going to make a trade for him because they no longer have a shot. That's the one thing about the NFL. Everybody has hope to start the year. You get into week 6, week 7, week 8, 33% of the league no longer has hope. They know in the building we're looking at next year. So if you're going to trade Hendrickson, trade him now, or you're going to lose the value off of Hendrickson because bigger teams aren't going to pay a ton to get him. You can get him a lot. You can get a lot more for him now. Now, there was a retirement the day before training camp. The Saints lost Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. I remember him at LSU. I remember him in Arizona. Mathieu has retired from the NFL. Definitely solid career. Solid career. But that's another blow to the Saints. That is a huge... It's just, can the Saints continue getting piled on? Kellen Moore gets a mulligan for this year. I've already said it. I'm going to keep saying it. They may not win a game. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I mean, they may end up trading most of their offensive linemen at the deadline to try to get picks for next year, which I don't disagree with at all. You know, Olave's got injuries. Saheed is injured. It's just a mess. Now, Jamal Adams has signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, reuniting with Carroll. I think this is big for one reason. Carroll is building the locker room. He's building the expectations. Chip Kelly is his offensive coordinator. The Raiders are going to be tough, and I cannot wait to talk about them when we get to the AFC West. And finally, Micah Parsons is discouraged that a deal hasn't been done. Think about this. Jerry Jones never moves quickly on these things. Waits to the last second, a lot like the San Francisco 49ers do. And he always overpays and kills his team's future anyway. Micah's going to get paid. It's going to happen. But should he? No. No. He does not impact the game nearly enough. Not nearly enough. As the teams in his division get better, his stats will continue to go down. If you're not eating on a bad Giant team or a bad Washington team, like I'm really wondering the over-under. I have not looked, but if the over-under is like 15 sacks for Parsons, which normally Vegas doesn't go that high, but let's say the over-under is like 12.5. I'd be tempted to bet the under. The team is going to be down. I really believe that. The team is going to be down a lot this year. They're going to be run at, and he doesn't affect the game on the ground. He affects the toss plays outside because he can run laterally. He can't run straight. I mean, you run straight at the defensive tackle just turns him and puts him on his butt. So, but you guys know my view on Micah Parsons. All right, that is it. Day 2, training camp preview is in the books. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Tuesday evening and make it the best Wednesday that you freaking can. Make it the best one. All right, guys, have a fantastic night. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.